Jurak Classic Whole Body Tonic is a dietary supplement, not a drug. Therefore, it is useful to affect the structure and/or function of your body in various ways, but it is not intended to and will not cure, mitigate, treat, or prevent any disease. Individual testimonials may not be everyone's experience and do not constitute scientific evidence. Jurak Corporation does not make any drug or treatment claims for its product.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at Jurak Worldwide, the home of health. Of course, we have our wonderful, incredible Jurak saga. It's a story started by Mr. Carl Jurak. He was the formulator of what we call JC Tonic today for short. It's Jurak Classic Whole Body Tonic, and what a formula it is, folks. It's been helping people for so many years now. An incredible track record. Why has it lasted that long? Because it flat out works, okay? So there are so many people that have incredible stories. Tonight we have an incredible special guest. Of course, the Tonic Man will be interviewing his brother, who could tell you so much about Carl and all of the different things they went through as kids growing up. And, of course, as adults, what their father's formula has done for all of you and for the many people that are joining us who are new on the call. We just urge you to keep an open mind and listen in, and we can't wait to get started. And let me introduce to you the founder of Jurak Worldwide, Anthony Carl Jurak.
You sound so great. Oh, Lenny, you sound like you're introducing Johnny Carson. That's great. Hello, everybody. Hello, and thank you for the warm welcome. And, you know, over the last calls, some of the things I've been talking about were, well, it would have been so easy for this miraculous, incredible, remarkable, stupendous product that my father developed so long ago to not even be available today. And Lenny mentioned tens of thousands of people who have this to thank for still being alive. And it goes on and on and on. So many people may have not gotten that benefit because of so many different things that happened in my dad's life as he was going through his life and the changes in living from Europe into Canada and different parts of Canada, that at any time something could have stepped in the way and he would have said, oh, the heck with this, forget it. And then here we go. I'm doing the same thing now, and it could have been the same with me, that I would have never made it to this juncture to be able to be talking to you tonight, to get you to join us on this health crusade. And one of the stories, of course, that comes to mind as I'm talking about that is because I have my brother Norman as our guest of honor tonight. I thought about this today. When I was 4 years old, now he's 2 years older than I am, so I remember we were walking along the road. We had a home that was way, way off the main road, 200-300 feet up, and we were down there walking along the side of the road, and it was springtime. And the melting was really ferocious, and the culverts on each side of the road were sometimes open and sometimes closed, and the water was gushing down. And as we're walking, the snow and ice is sort of melting a lot, and here I'm walking on the inside. Norman had me walk on the inside because I was little and he was bigger, so he walked on the roadside. And here all of a sudden I disappear. And what happened was that the ice broke and I fell into one of these culverts. Look, folks, if it wasn't that my brother shoved his hand down as quickly as I fell, he grabbed me by the hair, and at that time I was 4 years old. I had a head of hair like the picture that you saw on the email that we sent out. I mean, I had such a head of hair they used to think I was a girl because of these Goldilocks. Thank God for that, because Norman stuck his arm down before I was carried off, grabbed me by the hair and pulled me up. Now, folks, if he had missed his shot, or he was whatever, I wouldn't be here. I'd be down, I don't know, floating down the St. Lawrence River somewhere. I don't know where. But I certainly would not be here talking to you. There must be a reason why all of this sort of thing happens. I'm like a cat with 9 lives because there's many other episodes in my life that I really should not be here. That was the first one. I was 4 years old, and it's funny. I remember that like if it was yesterday. I mean, it would be, I know what I was wearing. I mean, holy smokes. There are many, many reasons why we're still here, why we are still talking to you about the JC Tonic, about this wonderful preparation that Carl Jurak developed so many years ago. He started to market it in 1943. And prior to that, of course, he started working on it 20 years before, from 1922 on. And by 1943, we were no longer in that home where I said was 300 feet off the main road. He had built a new home in a place called Sillery, which was the suburb of Quebec City, and he did that because Norman already was going to school. I was going to start going to school. Loretta, our sister, was going to school, and it was pretty far out where we were, and it was difficult and time-consuming and so on. So he built a home close to where the schools were, and that is the house on Dixon Street in Sillery where he actually started to manufacture in a big way. Prior to that, he had opened a little laboratory down in Lower Town, Quebec, and he had started making his preparation at the time. And that's when he realized that, this is going to become a business. So he started to think in terms of, well, I have to manufacture in bigger quantities and so on. And as he's building the house, I guess in his mind he was thinking, well, this would be a place to do it. Whatever he did, he decided to do it, and our playroom became the lab and the mixing equipment, and the 2 garages became the packing and the warehouse and so on. And there were trucks and cars coming and going, and he hired a fellow who actually was working building his house, one of the workers, and he used to go out and watch them build the house and talk to the contractor, and he could observe this fellow was a really, really hard worker. So he offered him a job to look after bottling and labeling and shipping. And he did the manufacturing. And that, folks, is where Norman and I came in a big way, because we were right there when it all started. And so the fun of tonight is to have my brother Norman tell you exactly what we did and how it worked and what went on. So, Normie, are you there?
Hey, Johnny. Thank you for inviting me to the show.
I'm okay. Here we are. Norman is my brother, folks, 2 years older, and of course he knows this product inside out as I do. As a matter of fact, he started drinking it before I did, and he did it for a very special reason. So, Norman, it's all yours, pal.
Well, I don't know about the special reason, but you know the story. Should I tell it?
Sure, tell
about
the story.
The hose?
Yeah, that's it. Tell the story.
Hey, listen, I'm 8 years old, and I'm working in my dad's packing room, filling bottles, putting labels on, and packing the boxes. And in order to start filling the bottles, you had to kind of start the hose from gravity, the hose that filled the bottles. So I had to kind of suck on it, like you're siphoning gasoline out of a truck. So I got a big old gulp of tonic in my mouth every time I started the process. So, I was flying around the place, so much energy. And that's my story of starting on the tonic.
And that fellow we had, that Dad had working there on Dixon Street, he showed us how to put glue. I mean, this was like rudimentary. He had labels and he had a pot of glue with a big paintbrush, one of the big ones, and he stuck it in the pot of glue and he wiped it off, and then he swabbed it onto the label and then took the label and put it on the bottle. Remember, Norman?
Those are ancient labeling times.
Yeah, that was our labeling machine, and Norman and I couldn't wait to come home from school. Everybody was going out to play. We couldn't wait to come home to go and see him and learn something else and do some of the stuff with him. It was just incredible.
Old Edgar, eh? Edgar LaFlamme.
That's it, Edgar Laflamme.
Yeah.
And so he became a pal of ours, and Norman and I used to hang out there, and we learned the business really, as they say, from the ground up. And Dad was in his other section of the house where he was making this stuff, and the extracts were percolating, and through the home you could smell the nice herbal smell all the time. And so we learned at an early age what it was all about. And, of course, we could see the people who were driving up, loading up their cars and so on. And that was, 1943 when he started that process. 1943. I think the house was finished building in 1943.
Yeah, they just built it, yeah.
Just built it. And I was 43. I was 6 years old then. Norman was 8. That's right. So we were there at the beginning, folks, and Norman was there. And, this is a really great one. One day, Dad and Mom went away, and Dad had a new car that we thought was pretty fancy. So here it was parked in the garage, and, we figured, not we, Norman. He said, hey, let's go and have a look. So up goes the hood, and he starts with this and with that, and he's like the surgeon, and I'm like the nurse. He says, hammer, wrench, saw, whatever it was, and I'd smack another tool into his hand, and I said, what are you doing? He says, I'm just having a look around. But every time he did something, another piece came out. So they were laying on the floor, and by the time he was finished, the whole engine was just about taken apart. Now, Norman is 8 years old. or 9 maybe by then. And my dad comes home and he says, so how are you, boys? Well, great, everything's fine. Yeah, he says, well, I'm going to take the new car out for a spin. We said, no, you don't go just yet. Anyway, he went down. Oh, that's another reason that it's strange that this product is even here, because we could have died in the line of fire.
We almost got crucified, eh?
Oh, God, he was not happy. Holy. Anyway.
Well, he was always complaining about his car burning too much oil, and Ford Motor Company wouldn't fix it for him,
Golly.
Car only had 10,000 miles on it.
Oh, then, that's true. It wasn't new anymore then. That's right. Yeah, so Norman said, Dad, don't be angry. I'll put it together. He says, are you crazy? How can you put it together? He said, don't worry, I know how. So back we go, and for the next few days, Norman is there putting pieces back into the engine, and in the end, everything worked.
Yeah, it ran pretty good.
And our dad was there. He was just smacking his forehead. He said, I don't know how you did it, but so... yeah, folks, a lot of stories about our dad, let us tell you that. And, of course, all of this and everything that transpired all has to do with bringing this miraculous product to the market. And we, of course, had a long life with this, and it continues now. And the thing about this at this time is that there is a definite reason why we are still on the market, why we have been on the market this long, why so many people have had benefits. Something else came to mind the other day, probably in about 2003, I think. The credit card processor of ours said one day, we're going to come and audit your books. And I said, what for? Well, they said something funny is going on here. I said, well, what can be funny? They said, we don't know. We're coming to audit the books. So I said, well, audit away. What they were looking for was, it seemed strange that there were no returns. So after looking at about 18 months or 24 months of records, they finally wrote a letter and they said, you're right, you don't have any returns. And folks, they said in direct selling, it is unheard of. There is nobody that has no returns. Everybody has tons of returns. People buy the product on spec. They don't like it. It doesn't work. They ship it back. Give me my money back. And you know what? In 2003, they found no one. And still today, no one returns this product because it works. As Lenny said, it flat out works. You just have to give it a chance to show that it will work for you, because we're not sure how much you need, how much I need, how much anyone needs. It depends on your health. It depends on a lot of things. So you have to be consistent, because the body starts to regenerate itself, and it's a process. And little by little, it gets better and better, and then this is fixed, then that's fixed, then this is working more smoothly than that is, and so on. And so at some point, everything kicks in and starts to repair and gets rid of the problems. So as we say in our disclaimer, we do say that it cures nothing, because this is not a cure for diabetes or high blood pressure or anything. But the body sure knows how to look after those things. If the body is in balance and it's getting some decent nutrition and it gets a reasonably good night's sleep and has some exercise, it can endure for a long, long time. And you see people who have never had any of the tonic, and they are in their 80s and they're limber and they're in good shape and their mind works and so on. And when you ask them what do, they say, well, look, I eat decent food, I get a reasonable amount of sleep, I still do a little bit of exercise, and all those things contribute to having a longevity, which is a happy longevity instead of one that's in a wheelchair with the oxygen mask. And I remember there was a reporter that was going along the street and saw three elderly gentlemen sitting on the park bench, and she thought, well, it would be good to interview them. Asked the first one, she said, so, sir, what do you owe to your longevity? She said, how old are you? He said, 92. And what do you owe to your longevity? And he said, I never had a drink in my life, and I think that's it. Oh, thanks a lot. Went to the next one, and he says, I'm 91. And what about you? He says, I don't smoke, I never have, and I never drink, and I believe that's it. She says, great. And she goes to the third one, and she said, what do you owe to your longevity? He says, I smoke, I drink, and I go out every night, and he says, I eat junk. She says, and how old are you? He says, well, 37. So there we are, folks, is one of the reasons why and how you can stay in better shape. However, the wonderful crutch that you have is called JC Tonic, this preparation my dad. He figured out that it will extend your life by keeping the blood clean, by balancing the systems and the organs, and by, in general, doing maintenance for your body that you don't do anymore, that we don't think of, or we don't have the time of, or we're just forgetful and we're doing all the wrong things. And in these days, of course, stress adds on to all that. So what we want you to do is not only get on the health crusade, because it is a health crusade, but you cannot do this health crusade if you don't also get on the wealth crusade. And to that end, I want Lenny to talk to you tonight about the wealth crusade, because it goes hand in hand. Leonardo, where are you?
I'm still alive.
All right.
Hey, you two fellas. How many thousand people are listening to us tonight?
I don't know, but a lot of people are calling. They can't get on.
Okay, that's good.
That is good. And, Anthony and Norman, I just get thrilled hearing you guys, because, what a wonderful formulation your dad put together. And one of the ways he started back in 1943, of course, was to get it out to the public, was to get people to retail it. And it was interesting because it was a form of network marketing, which we have today. Back then, they didn't really have that, but he was ahead of his time, even in the business. And the reason why we do it in a network marketing platform is because really we're not looking for salespeople. We're looking for people who get results and they share their results to help other people. So sharing your story can actually save people's lives. And because of you sharing JC Tonic with other people, we reward you with some income. And it's up to each individual. Some people like to have a little extra money, to help pay for, maybe save up for college, graduation. Some people, they use it to pay their car payment. So, what would you do with an extra $500 a month? I mean, would that change your life? I mean, it really does. If you think about it, $500 can change your life in many, many ways, because it can help you with some of the situations you may be in today. Reduce credit card debt. There's so many things you could do with an extra $500. Well, the sky's the limit, though. It's up to you what you want to make. And it all just stems from sharing JC Tonic and letting people make the decision. And I think that's the most important thing. I share JC Tonic on a daily basis because there are so many people complaining about their health issues. I mean, it's really sad. I was just talking to a fellow. He's only 34 years old yesterday. He's still pretty young. He's not feeling good. His wife's concerned, and they were thinking about, doing something for his health. Well, he heard his brother saying how fantastic he felt with JC Tonic and how it's helped him, even though he's 50 years old. He started a new landscaping business. So they wanted to talk to me, and his brother says, okay, give me the skinny on it. Now, he was puzzled because him and his wife expected me to give him all of the technical aspects of JC Tonic. I didn't do that. I just told him my story, told him, a little bit about what JC Tonic did. They wanted to know what the background was and so forth. And pretty much my story of my problems actually got them to try JC Tonic. So if you could share your story, we'll reward you. That's what network marketing is all about. So if you want to know more about it, please call me at home office. And all you have to do is call 1-800-JC-TONIC, ask for Lenny, and I will tell you and give you the steps on how you can join us in the Health Crusade and Wealth Crusade. But folks, think about that because so many people need you. I still have people. I met a fellow. He was a friend of mine now. He's 83 years old. He's been taking JC Tonic since 2000, and we got together today earlier, and he just says, I can't thank you enough of introducing me to JC Tonic. He says, I'm still active. I'm still got all my faculties, my thinking ability and everything. He says, if it wasn't for JC Tonic, I don't know where I would be. So that's the joy. That's the real reward. So give me a call. I'd love to step you through it. So thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Norman. What a great saga that your family has, and you should be proud of that. Have any few more words there, Anthony, to kind of wrap up this wonderful
I
call
have
tonight?
plenty of words, but you're all going to have to tune in next week for the continuation. Just want to say thanks a lot, Lenny, and please do call Lenny. He'll walk you through it. It doesn't hurt a bit, and you know what? A lot of people say, well, I don't have time. Well, it's just not true because we talk to people all day long, don't we? Wherever you are, wherever you work, you're talking to somebody. And maybe after talking about the football game or the card game or whatever else we talk about, just let people know that you're feeling an awful lot better. You're going to the doctor an awful lot less. You're taking an awful lot less of medication. Family's better. Everybody's better. And they're going to ask you why and how. And don't worry. Some people still tell me they think I'm from the moon or Mars. It's fine. Don't worry. There's a lot of people that are going to say, are you crazy? But look, if only 2 people out of every 10 you talk to tell you that they'd like to try it, you certainly soon will be drinking free. That's the first training Lenny's going to do, tell you how you don't have to pay for yours any longer, and then start banking the money. And, $100, $200, $300, $400 doesn't sound like much today. When you go to a grocery store, you hardly have enough with that. But, when you have that extra coming in and all you've done is help people, holy cow, what a great way to live. So please do that. We like to say, pay it forward. It is a health crusade. We want people to get healthier. And when you practice that mission, believe me, the commission will follow. So talk to Lenny. Find out how to become an ambassador of health. Isn't that lofty? We call our distributors ambassadors of health. Wow, I think that's great. When people say, what do you do? And you say, I'm an ambassador of health, they'll say, which country?
And all you people out there on this tonight, ask Lenny about his story. I mean, it's quite incredible. This guy was almost knocking on the door.
60, Yeah, almost 60. He's looking at the pine box.
Yeah.
And going
Glad to have you here, Lenny.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, that should wrap up our show tonight, folks. Thank you guys so much for spending your time here at Jurak Worldwide. We love all of you. And as we say around here, take an ounce and feel the bounce. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.